Okay, August 5, some cool things happening today. Uh, this daily game design, game development activity. For our hour together, uh, well, I know eventually what I'll get to. This is the important bit, so I don't want to delay it too long. I'm going to revisit what I've been thinking through for my conversation with a couple of these gatekeepers, I should call them. That's like this is a totally neutral term in this case. um, but gatekeepers, as far as being able to design for ADRA, for that organization. This is a conversation that's been ongoing now for a few months. I think before I left for China, I forget actually when we first connected, but Sharon and I started talking about designing games for this humanitarian organization. And I think a game is a really great publish self a such an organization self-publishing a game. I think is actually a brilliant idea, and I know that financially it's going to be challenging, but that's partly why I want to cast the vision a little bit this morning. And the reason I know I need to do this is I think just having some experience, taking a game from start to finish, I have some idea of the process, and that means I also have some idea of the cost. And I understand because of the learning curve I've had, and because some of the exchange I've had with Sharon, that I think talking through the actual process will be really important, because it's not obvious. It's not obvious to people where games come from, where babies come from. It's not obvious to people where games come from, and like I said, there was a time when no designer's name would have been on the box. And so anyway, part of the discussion today I'm going to have with ADRA is, I think, to demystify the process and highlight the different pain points, the different points that are probably going to cost. It's gonna be an investment up front, and so that's what I want to communicate, is both the fact that I think it's an amazing idea, it's an amazing opportunity for such an organization to have something material to offer people that communicates their values, that engages people, families, potentially for years and years, that that connects them to the organization in such a way that they want to feel like that they want to support the organization. I think a game is actually a really, really cool way of accomplishing this. And so that's why I feel like I need to set things up in that way. And then, we need to spend some time talking about what the actual cost is going to be. But I have a few other things to do first. The very first thing I want to do, which is a digression, is show you my... This is my my new house plant. It may be the only one I ever own. I'm not sure. This was a gift from my friend Ronson, who really interesting, really productive, really cool guy. He's one of our Monday night regulars. Whenever he's available, he'll stop in. He'll bring a pizza. Just a super cool guy, sweet guy. And I told him about moving, and that I was just kind of settling in, and he thought, oh, I could bring this guy a plant. And so he made a couple of really smart decisions, I think. One is, I appreciate this hanging basket. The other is that apparently, I don't remember the name. I should text him and just see what... Anyway, a really beautiful plant. I should see what it is. But what he told me is that it's really hardy. So I don't have to... it's very unlikely to die. So I'm just really excited about my house plant as a housewarming gift. I think that was a great idea. He gave me some instructions. I think I only need to water it like once a week or twice a week or something. Just check it. apparently also he said it's basically a weed. so so I think that's actually ideal for me. I think weeds being as resilient as they are is actually perfect for my my gardening habits. So anyway, really excited about that. But to orient here back to games, I sent out an email yesterday to this would be the group that has come to our gaming retreats. We do have the Hawaii board game retreat coming up in October, and as my setup is kind of the introduction of the email, I started thinking, what do I actually think games do? Like, what do they accomplish? And this is not a complete list by any means, but these are some things that really stand out to me, which I think were worth highlighting for our retreat audience, and I think for you right now. And you'll see my comment at the bottom of this list, how it applies, why it applies. So I asked, like, what do games do? I think a game is an invitation to slow down and align your attention with others' attention. And this is actually a really, I want to say this is a big deal. There are a few things that do this. Well, there's tons of things that do this, but in the way that a game does it, I think it's actually similar to, like, I'm trying to think of some other contexts that are similar. One of them is a meal. So we sit down, we let's just imagine, I think it applies to just about any social meal. But imagine a family-style dinner where everybody's passing the plates around, you're dishing yourself some food, or maybe it's a big lazy Susan and you're just pulling stuff off, and, oh, hey, can I get the pepper? Hey, there's, the pasta's over there. Can I get some of that? And so everyone, I almost want to say ideally, but often everyone's attention is focused there. Their attention is somehow aligned. I mean, it's at least in the same channel, right? Their attention is aligned. It's dinner time. We're here to eat. We're here to engage, socialize a little bit, maybe learn about each other's day or whatever it is, right? So family meals, stuff like, or just, potluck or something. The point is, here's a thing which aligns our attention. You go to a movie theater, your attention is aligned. It's not the same. You're not typically in a circle. I can't imagine a theater where you get to sit in a circle, but that's the same kind of thing. It's something that draws the attention of society, and I mean, like, of more than one individual. So games do that, and I think that's a really important exercise to put yourself through these days, partly because we have the online shopping, doom scrolling culture, and to pause, to put your device down and redirect your attention to the social center, a centralized place, because it is a place. You were talking about games often, and games are material, and they require that you orient your body a certain direction, that you interact in a certain way, and that we all agree that we're doing this for a while. That's so powerful because so often our minds are caught up in this kind of device that makes us think that we're godlike, that we can be anywhere at once, that we can know everything. So what a game does is it actually brings you out of that delusion and reorients you, reorganizes your experience to the material, often to the competitive, where your decisions are gauged, they're measured. I mean, we like Monday nights. It's essentially my favorite time period of the week. And in fact, that's one reason why, when I noticed how I related to our Monday nights, that's when I thought games do something special. because when I go on a Monday night, and I consider myself the host over there. We have a really comfortable gaming space, unless you get frozen out by the AC. But we have 4 tables set up. People come and go. People cycle through all the time. And anyway, when I realized that for myself, I commit at least 6 hours a Monday to this enterprise of hosting games, teaching games, learning games, setting out snacks so that people can more deeply enjoy their experience around games. This is what I do every single Monday. And I did so until people stopped asking, "Are there games on Monday?" Right? This is year 3 for us. In fact, I think it's next Monday that it will be our 3-year anniversary. That's cool. Like, this is my first time ever doing something like this. So when I realized that is not at all work for me, I cherish the time that I get to invest in prepping for game night. Like, I'll go to Costco, pick up a couple little snacks, some fruit, try to get a little mix of healthy and profane. And so I stop in at the game store, say I had a couple of friends, then maneuver my way to the conference office, and then I might have 5 minutes of setup, wash off the fruit, bring out the plates, and maybe move the chairs around a little bit. So I do this sort of nesting ritual there for Monday nights, and I might sit and just be at peace for 15 minutes before Jeremy cruises in, and we have our little spiritual conversation. So after that time, we a couple other people have been coming around a little more for that. But for me, it is, I really value that time. For me, it is spiritual. Like, for me, Monday nights are something like church. And I did not expect it all to be choked up here. The point is, when I realized that, and then of course, after our little time together, people are filtering in. We start to break up into games, and then we play for 3.5 or 4 hours. Sometimes people linger after and just talk. It's just really, to me, it's so beautiful. It's so good. It's so rich. That I noticed that this is special to me. This is not work at all. It doesn't take any work at all to do that every week. So it's something like, I noticed that games facilitate something special. That's why I'm going through this. That's why I developed this list. That's why I'm going through this list. And that's why, like, when I saw how special these moments are to me, that's why I'm comfortable reorganizing my life around games. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing an hour every day. That's why I buy. That's why I swap. That's why I have too many games. That's why I go to too many game nights. That's why I interact too often online with game designers, and it's because I noticed there's something special going on here. Okay, so games, they're an invitation to slow down and align our attention with others. Games, this one is the one you just kind of have to tick off at some point. A game offers stimulating puzzles and problems to solve. A game should be interesting. That's the point. In fact, that's one thing I'll go through a little bit in after this particular digression. A game often says, "It's your turn, your contribution's welcome, you matter." This is something I realized fairly recently when, again, I'm considering what is the value of what we're doing. We have people who feel so disconnected, who feel so invisible at work, at home, and what we do at the table is, not every game, but most games, well, something, just a turn-based game. we just go around the circle. It's almost like it's almost like a little support meeting, where everybody has their chance to speak and introduce themselves and that kind of thing. So everybody gets the floor for their turn. We're all kind of anticipating what they're going to do. We're all interested in the decisions they make, probably because they affect us, just like in real life. The decisions other people make affect us. So I just realized, like, what if there's a person who shows up to our gaming scenario and they feel they lack agency, they lack respect, they feel overlooked, and like we're playing Lords of Waterdeep last night, or we played Quest for El Dorado, or we played a little dice throne. We just cycle around the table, and each round, each cycle, we say, it's your turn. We're interested in you, in what you're doing, what you're offering, what you're bringing to this moment. We're interested. And I think there's something really powerful there. I think those of us who feel disconnected or feel lonely, feel ignored, that can be a really special, powerful moment. It's over a game. And yet in that game, we're saying you matter to us. In general, when the spirit's positive and everybody's getting along well and we're just having a nice time, we constantly, this round by round in the game, turn by turn, we say you matter. We welcome your contribution. And I think that's a big deal. It's small, but it might be one of the few times that person feels like somebody's paying attention to them. Like somebody cares about what they do. Like it's a game, but it's bigger. It's somehow bigger than that. Okay. This was a huge one for me, this next one. A game produces feelings that hint at your sense of identity and value. When I noticed this was a game changer for me. This little insight. Because I felt at the table, I felt stupid before, I still notice myself making mistakes. You idiot. Why did you do that? How come you didn't notice that thing that's so obvious? It's sitting right there. Anyway, it's crazy that kind of self-talk actually shows up during games. It comes out during games. The sense of who they are, what they need to fight for, their honor, their sense of self-worth based on their performance. You see it all the time. If somebody doesn't win, or if they, or if they do win and they kind of overreact as like sore winners. I mean, all this stuff you see like this. You see people proving to themselves over and over and over that they are a certain type of person when they play games. Actually, no, games highlight that, and they should be the cause of conversation around identity. I've taken the opportunity now that I caught this. If this shows up, if somebody says, they literally say, they break down during a game and they let it slip out. They say, "Oh, I'm so stupid." What a cool opportunity to remind people that they have value, that their value is not attached to the decision they just made, that it doesn't mean what they think it means. It was a mistake. It was an oversight. You're not stupid. You're not stupid. Your value didn't get reduced in my mind because you missed this little thing on a cardboard, on this cardboard, this object that we're all focused on with all of it. Your value has not slipped in my mind, and I hope it doesn't slip in yours. So it's just a really cool thing that games bring out, these challenges, and this is related to the next one. A game challenges you with the circumstances of life, but in a compact, controlled, and this is, I think, very context-based, contextual, and with us, a safe environment. This is very, very important. This is what I noticed, that people have strong feelings at the table, and they have these strong feelings partly because they would have these same feelings in the same type of situation apart from the game. That's a huge deal. Like, that's so big that games create situations, and I'm confident of this. I don't have the data for this. I don't, I haven't done the research, but I'm still confident, overconfident of this, that your body cannot tell the difference between being overwhelmed, attacked, bullied, ignored, isolated. I mean, all these things. Games create moments where those feelings, the feelings that come from those experiences, are possible. Because you look around and you say, wait, how come you're only trading with that person? Wait, I'm here. What, like, why did you guys just gang up on me? Or, my luck is so bad. And whatever, you kind of have these stories about yourself in the situation. And games produce those moments, which are concentrated in form and effect. And we've all agreed to be here. Like we're in this little pressure chamber together, this little pressure cooker, and feelings come out. And I think they betray the kinds of things we think about are true about ourselves and our circumstances. It's also great when you can come out of those spirals, when you can, we all go through it together, and that's what I try to communicate to people is, things might get ugly during the game, but we're still going to be friends after, right? Because I think it needs to be true apart from the game as well, outside of the game. It's like things could get rough here, things could get ugly, but I'm committed to our friendship, to our relationship. So anyway, powerful stuff, I think. And finally, and this has been very much my experience, a game provides opportunities of discomfort, learning, and growth. I see it all the time. Adults, in particular, don't like feeling out of control, right? They don't like the feelings. They don't like the feelings that come from learning something new. Many don't. Some are adventurous. Some are used to this. I mean, so I'm around gamers and they're used, like, they go through this all the time. But especially somebody just getting into the hobby where they, essentially learning a new game, learning a new game is like going to a new school. It's taking a new job. It's like here's a world that you have to understand very quickly. You have to start making decisions in and about a brand new world. It's like stepping in as vice principal at a big high school in your first day. What do? Maybe you have a mentor, you have somebody who taught you how to play, but what do? What's the optimal decision your first day? This is what people feel when they learn a new game, and it's their first turn. They've got all these cards, or they just rolled some dice, and now they're supposed to make a choice in this foreign environment. It's very off-putting, very unsettling to people. And at the same time, you can get used to that. You can become comfortable with the learning process. And you know what that is? That's actually growth. So, what a cool thing. What a big deal. So you can see, and this is my comment at the end of this, I really do have to move on. I'm 25 minutes in. You can see why I'm organizing my life and business around games. Games do awesome stuff. They do really, really cool things. They're really, really cool education tools. They're really great. I believe they're really great witnessing opportunities when you get to speak life into somebody who feels down, who feels, is having these strong feelings right in front of you. You don't know what is going on in their lives outside that is an analog to what just happened in the game. We don't know. You don't know. But those feelings they're relevant. They're coming in because of something that's happening out there, right? Something that somebody's carrying around in their mentality. in their experience. They're carrying it. They brought it in with them, and now it's showing up at the table. What a cool thing to be able to encourage somebody like that. So anyway, this is special. I mean, there's lots of hobbies, there's lots of ways to do what I'm describing, you know, to put people in situations where they're learning, where they're trying something. Lots of hobbies. I've noticed it in games. So, and I find that games for me are so engaging, so interesting. I'm not good at them in general, but I really, really, really value what we do. So anyway, this was in the email that I sent out, and hopefully a few people enjoyed thinking through this stuff with me. Okay, also, I am, you know, if you on the mainland, especially, if you're interested in coming out to the board game retreat, we do it. I would love to do this twice a year. This October, this one is this is kind of a test. So anyway, really hoping for the best here, that we get the numbers we need to do a little better than break even. That's always our goal. Do a little better than break even. We're not trying to make money. We're just trying to offer an experience that people value for as cheap as possible, right? We're not getting paid. We're volunteers. Anyway, just really hoping we get a nice group out in October. If you have any questions about the retreat, please ask. I'm super happy to fill you in. Consider yourself invited. Another thing I wanted to just point out was this idea that's become in terms of game design. It's become really, really important to me to think about and to try to incorporate. Oh shoot! Even after this, I have one more update. Dang it! 30 minutes to work on that meeting stuff should be fine. So thinking through how a good game. This is a claim now. Lots of opinions about this, I'm sure. But a good game ought to offer interesting choices. And the way I put it here was meaningful decisions, or meaningful or difficult choices. So what I'm trying to capture here, so what I wrote, this is in the Board Game Design Lab Facebook group. I put it to the group. I asked, like, if I want to incorporate this idea of the importance of meaningful choices when you're playing a game. That means when you come to a fork, when a decision tree starts to branch out in front of you, that it's not always obvious what you ought to do. What is best? What is going to best serve your game? Often you ought not to see to the end of that branching tree, of each branch. If you can see to the end of each branch, this is like, you know, some massive chess brain, right? They can calculate all these possibilities and they see to the very end of the road. This is what these big AI things are, you know, these super GMs or whatever. They can see very, very far down each branch and then make a choice. Even for a much simpler game, what we ought to offer people is, you know, just the common person, not some chess genius, but just the common average thinker, or, you know, a range of ability and experience. You want to give players true choices, the sense that they're making a true choice and that there's a consequence to that choice. You want them to feel like they could have done something different, and that they don't have all the information to know what would have happened if they had done something different. That's replayability. That brings them back to try a new strategy, to experiment. You know, this is why games that are solved are not interesting. So it's the whole thing about tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe feels like a real game to somebody who doesn't know that the game is solved. I actually don't know the steps to solving tic-tac-toe. I don't know how to make it what is it, cats, or what is that? Like the tie? I don't know how to do that every time. But it wouldn't take long to study and figure it out. There's only so many options to put your X or your O. So this game is not replayable. This game is not interesting because it doesn't offer true choices. It feels like you're making a choice, but because you can see to the end of each branch of the decision tree, you know what's optimal. So if you do anything else, you know that you're going to lose, right? Or if you know that your opponent has done anything other than whatever is optimal, you know they're going to lose. That's not interesting. The game is solved. So this applies. I was thinking of another game where playtesting, where you get your hand of cards, and it's pretty obvious for pretty much every hand of cards what you ought to do. And what that means is you're not making an interesting choice. You're doing what the game is telling you to do, but you're not. You don't experience agency in those moments. You're just like, oh, this thing. The game says this thing is most valuable. Okay, I'll play that. Oh, that's it. So that's the only thing I should do. Once you recognize that, once a player recognizes that because the structure of the game, because the way the components relate to each other, that the best thing to do is always this thing. At that point, the game is ruined. The game is, I mean, especially if they're right, of course, the game is solved. There's nothing interesting about the game anymore. It's like literally like a crossword puzzle. Cool, or a Sudoku. Yeah, great, I just filled in this thing. Now, that's it. Now you gotta move on to a different Sudoku. The Sudoku is solved. In the same way, there are games especially that are not play tested well, or thoroughly, or that are still so early in the process that, yeah, you're just figuring out all these bugs. Those games often, they can often be broken. And breaking a game means finding something, probably that the designer didn't intend, that lets you take advantage of a game system such that you get an indomitable advantage, or like this weird interaction happens. So I guess it's not always like this is an absolute like point advantage or something like that. Something could just stop working. That's another way of breaking the game. But the kind of game breaking effect I'm talking about is the one where you just say, okay, the game, it looks like I should be engaging with that part of the board over there. That's what the layout, the design, everything's telling me that that's supposed to matter to me. However, what I've noticed is if I do this thing over and over and over again, I'm going to get a million points and win. Once you identify that kind of thing, that optimal strategy, the game is no longer interesting. It's just a procedure. It's not a game anymore. Okay. Anyway, so I put this to the group. I just wanted to highlight Chris Bakke. He's the guy I'm going to be talking with, I think, in a couple weeks. But he's the guy that helped me understand how important interesting choices are. A game ought to be full, not overflowing, but full of interesting choices. You don't want somebody to freeze because they're overwhelmed by, decision fatigue. You don't want that to happen either. So it's a cool balance to strike. The one which is, okay, maybe there's a kind of a swell, ebb and flow of decision making. Okay, oh, this one's real tough. Oh, this is a tough choice. Next turn you might be able to relax a little bit. Okay, this one's a little more clear. Great. Now that I've made this choice, now these branches are a little more clearer. So you kind of let people settle back in and get a little comfortable after a big choice. Like, that's also cool. You don't want to just be constantly this fire hose of incredibly difficult choices. I don't think you want that. Anyway, cool stuff. All right. Last thing is I have made some progress. Some of you know that I've been working with manufacturers in China to try to identify a couple of products to start selling on Walmart.com and on Amazon. I am an approved seller on both of those platforms. So this is Judy. Judy's my contact from Nice Funny Games. This is who helped me print the Pathfinder game last year. And so the product we have identified from Nice Funny Games is dice. So I just wanted to show you a few of the dice that she took pictures of and sent to me. So, you know, pretty much my motto right now, you know, I don't have a lot of capital to put into these things. So I am going to start fairly small, and for sure that means starting very, very cheap. Like, I'm not trying to get a few at a high price and sell them at a much higher price. I'm trying to get volume for the very little capital I have. Yeah, I'm still hoping. So I'm just gonna flip through some of the pictures here of dice that she sent me. So this stood out to me, this plastic packaging right here. I'm trying to, you know, I don't want any tins. I don't want any of this fancy foam or metal dice. I think you'll see a picture of metal dice. Like, this tube actually looked kind of good to me. And you can see these are game components. You know that with Game Land, I'm actually considering poker chips. I have a little update there too. These are metal dice. I'm not trying to spend a lot of money on this part of it. So then once I communicated that with her, then she started sending me pictures of much more affordable packaging. She asked for me to pick some dice, and then she would get me a quote for those dice. And so I screenshot this from the PDF she sent, and I just said, yeah, just this kind of thing. Pretty standard set of 7. These are like RPG dice, D&D dice. It's a standard set, 7 dice. Okay, then she says this is about $1 a set for these dice. This is about $1 per set, 90 cents to $1.10. And then she gave me she sent me a photo of this packaging. She recommended that partly because we could just put a label right on that. You know, if it was this type of packaging, there's no labeling really. Maybe there's like a little tag that you could tie or something. But here, this looks like a nice solution would be just to put, you know, stick a simple sticker on there. Tabletop games, you know, with love from Scott, whatever. And then anyway, so we're still in discussion and conversation about that. But it looks like we'll move forward with dice with that simple packaging. This one right here. And the other funny thing is, I was thinking, this is what I asked her. I don't know that she fully. Sometimes our communication is a little bit complicated, just with language barrier stuff. But I think she understands I'm trying to do everything as cheap as possible. And so what turns out to be the case is that there is like just stock sitting there, so we don't need to like mold the dice. There's already stuff that they have sitting around. And so what I asked was, what if I just buy up your overstock, like stuff that nobody else is gonna buy? What if I just buy that up at a discount? I don't know if that's possible. But anyway, so there's progress there. But at this point, I am gonna jump over to prepping for this meeting. It's gonna include. I'm just gonna go through some of the main ideas that seem pretty important. The meeting is in another hour and 10 minutes. I believe it's at 9 a.m. my time. And so this will be with my contact at ADRA plus her boss. That's who I'm expecting to be at this meeting. So I wanted to start with this claim that games are a good a good angle to take, a good investment for various reasons. So the highlights I have are the enhanced engagement and education. Again, this is about bringing people back into the material world, taking them out of their just a little less screen time and that kind of stuff, and that you can actually teach player agency. This is a really important thing that games should. I just spent some time on this. Games should offer interesting choices. And you essentially learn how to think. You learn how to make choices as you play. And with thoughtful integration of theme and mechanics, we can actually teach people about ADRA itself, the values of ADRA, the way that people the way the game asks people to behave can actually be like in line with what ADRA is all about. You know, service, solving problems, supporting each other, like managing resources as a group. Like this is all stuff we can build into games, and it will literally teach people the kinds of thinking that people who work for ADRA have to do. So like that's the point. That's perfect. Okay, and then in line with that, now we actually people get to know ADRA itself through play, and then might feel interested in getting to know more or supporting more. And then another reason is because you're actually selling an object. A lot of humanitarian organizations, I imagine, operate based on fundraising or grants, but I don't know exactly how many. I'm sure a lot have figured this out. Selling merch or books or other publications about their activities. They might ask for a donation or something like that. So I guess I don't know the legalities here. You probably are allowed to sell things. I'm sure you're allowed to sell things as an NGO. You just can't be making a profit apart from. I think everything it would have to be nonprofit. Everything would have to stay internal to the organization. Okay, but anyway, to actually to establish a consistent revenue stream for such an organization, so they can not have to write grants as often, or so that they can shunt certain funds, that they can have more money to work with, seems like a good idea. So it's a sustainability thing, and then also just bigger impact because they have more resources. So get another a revenue stream going sounds awesome. And then again, with the types of play that are possible, just social interaction makes sense here. Okay, I also ran across this company because of the research that Gemini did. Pack Sims has some interesting games. Actually, I'm going to bring those up right now. Pax Sims. And the thing is, it's clear. So they have a bunch of games. Wait, one of them, I think they're actually in BGG. Pack Sims. Publisher, maybe? Pack Sims, there it is. So they. Oh wait, it wasn't only. Maybe it's in my history. What's the other? Let me check to see what this thing is. I subscribe to Johnny Appleseed, which is it's a game in the contest that I'm in with for the solitaire game. That's my surfing game is in that one. I subscribe to one of the games, and those are the only updates I get are from those games, from that guy's games. I wish people were interacting with mine, but that means I need to be giving more feedback to more people. Where's history? So, what was that called? I'm just gonna try virus. I guess I just need to look. I think it was this week, so that's good. Looked at a bunch of games. What were these? Oh, I looked up my friend. My friend is selling some games. Looked up a bunch of those. Oh no, it wasn't last week, was it? Oh, maybe it's just down to. Oh, what's this about? Oh, interesting. I've never seen a layout like this. That's partly what's going on here. When was I looking for? This is a really interesting setup, the layout for. It must be around here. Tilt factor? Is that it? It was. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. So who are they though? What is this group? Tilt Factor, game design for social change. Tilt Factor vision. An equitable world and equitable and just world in which challenges such as bias and stereotypes eradicated through play. Okay. But who is an interdisciplinary innovation studio founded by Mary Flanagan? Critical play. I think this is like a design studio first. And so they would just be okay, something that Mary wrote about herself. It's always funny to see what people come up with for stuff like this. Her groundbreaking explorations across the arts, right? I don't know. It's always weird to know, to know what to say. Achieved international acclaim for her novel interdisciplinary games. Sure. But where does she work? Like, who's she connected to? Commitment to humanistic principles, but I don't see. Oh, okay. So she works at Dartmouth. Okay. Parameter game designer. Hmm. So graduate of Dartmouth as well. Yikes. They really had quite a bit of support here with all these different personalities. Excuse me. Melanie Green, I don't know who this is. University of Buffalo. I wonder if that's supposed to be UB. Excuse me. So these are all just people, I guess, that this person is interfaced with. Anyway, yeah, so they're just a studio. Kind of looks like a passion project for a professor. Fair enough. So they're not comparable, but they kind of design. Excuse me. Something like related games. So I'm gonna leave these open. So we have Pack Sims and Tilt Factor. It looks like yeah, they're also on the Game Crafter. So I'm gonna go back to games. Excuse me. Okay, so partly what I want to do. Yikes. I think that's actually nerve stuff. I don't think there's actually something in my in my nose that is doing that. Excuse me. That can't be fun to listen to. Okay, I think the other example for number 2, I want to highlight Pax Sims and Tilt Factor. Yeah. couple of relative. Almost. Relevant examples of their games to include anyone else. Let's see how well the Gemini does here. Nice. Good. Okay. Okay, so that was just examples of organizations that are designing similar games or games that are related. So the point is, this is absolutely not thorough. I wonder if I should do a more thorough search. It's just that it could be that humanitarian I want to add as a note to myself that it looks like other humanitarian orgs have games, but I wouldn't classify them in the same way I'm I wouldn't classify them with the games we intend to design for ADRA. Like, partly because I don't think, for me, they don't seem, they are not games, but rather activities or quizzes. Also, activities, quizzes, or activities tools or quizzes. Also, what was the other element I was just thinking of? For me, they're not games, but rather activities, tools, or quizzes. Also, it seems like many of them are just digital. Under number 2. Yeah. Of examples. Yeah, it was interesting to start looking around to see what other organizations are doing and just like realize that they have interactive things, like they have activities on their websites. Or there was the one for the Nobel Prize website that was just kind of like click through some stuff, and that was the closest they got to having. Yeah. So I think it seems impossible to say like what we're doing could be unique, but that's actually possible, that we could have, you know, a nonprofit making, you know, formally publishing family weight modern hobby board games. I think that's probably very unusual if it's ever been done. So it could be cool for ADRA to lead out in that. I wonder if there are like World Vision board games. There probably are. Toys and games. Board games? There are board games? Wait, this booklet contains instructions for parents, caregivers, and children to encourage learning through games and activities for children 6 through 9 years. It includes ideas such as and it has board games. Let me see. Let's download. In maybe my last 5 minutes, you know what? I'll probably just keep streaming because I'm going to be working on this anyway. Let's look for board games. Oh, page 21. Where's page 21? Okay. Okay. So these are the ideas for board games, and their primary, their initial example is Chutes and Ladders. I'm sorry, Snakes and Ladders. Word and picture matching game. Okay. So these are for people that actually craft their own games, which is kind of interesting. Actually, that is interesting. Letter matching game where you are asked to pair uppercase and lowercase letters. Is that interesting? Math Tubes is a game that practice basic operations like addition and subtraction. Okay, don't know about a game there. Memory, sure. Bottle Cap Words is a collection of letters you can play with freely. Okay. Here we go, Snakes and Ladders. It's a board game that can be adapted in various ways. Yep, I agree. Okay, so this is actually a great resource for activities. These are certainly not modern hobby games, but that's not like a problem. All I'm saying is that this is fundamentally different from what we would be working on. What else do they have? How did I shrink everything? Okay, learn to play Mancala.
It looks like your Wi-Fi name or password has changed. To update your Wi-Fi information, go to the Alexa app.
Okay. I thought I found a way for Alexa to like not be making those kind of announcements, and the way to do it was to make sure it doesn't actually get access to Wi-Fi. It wants access to Wi-Fi. So what I did is I changed my hotspot password, connected Alexa to Wi-Fi so it could get set up. Then I went back and changed my Wi-Fi password back to what it, or my hotspot password back to what it normally is, so that Alexa has the wrong password.
Your Wi-Fi name or password has changed. To update your Wi-Fi information, go to the Alexa app.
Is that going to be now a new problem? I wonder if she just heard me talking and thought I was talking to her. Oh, this is interesting. Tactile board games for the blind. Okay, let's open this. Global survival board game. What are some major relief organizations? I'll just call them major humanitarian organizations. Oxfam. Let's look at them. Oxfam board games. Secondhand board games. Oxfam games for sale. I should have just done this myself. Oh, so it sells games. It's kind of like okay, so this would be like buying games from online from the Goodwill. Okay, something about Oxfam. How do I get rid of this? So Oxfam probably their website I guess had some, anyway, not relevant. Yeah, so I think what this is talking about is just, where did that go? World Vision, we looked at that. UNICEF board games. Let's try that. UNICEF board games. games and fun. So UNICEF is, are they also selling? They're just selling items, but they're not like original to UNICEF. Right. Yeah, they're just like reselling games. I create educational board games to help children. Let's see what this person is talking about. Tram 26 project. Oh, well, that's interesting. Hmm. Um. Hmm. But games and fun solitaire board games. It's the market still. Oh, empowering young dreams, a board game for change. How a board game is being used to raise awareness and tackle child marriage and adolescent pregnancy in Lao, PDR. Whoa. Wow. Interesting. Led by Lao Youth Union and UNICEF. The board game was pre-tested with students. Okay. So where is it now? It's great. It's very cool to like design such a game, but where is it? Who owned? Is it done? Right? Is it published? The board. Hmm. This is a great idea. I'll leave it open, but I don't see. Oops, I did not leave it open. Today. Okay. So it's a cool idea, but what happened to it? I wanted to go back and just keep looking for UNICEF stuff. Oops. UNICEF. Hmm. Why is this listed in Noble Knight? World card game. Oh. Okay, here we have an example. This is legitimately the kind of thing we're looking for. So when did this World card game? Let's see if it's on BGG. World card game. I don't think so. So the reason it's on Noble Knight is that Noble Knight is a used game market, I believe. Is a card game associated. Okay. Yeah. Oh, CRC card game. Value wheel. So this is what we were looking for. Okay, it looks like UNICEF. Let me find. Okay. It's on Etsy. It's vintage, so 1979. That's interesting. Here we go. UNICEF board game publisher. Oh, nice. Okay. This is more like it here. Riskland. Friends Around the World. So I just found that UNICEF here. Let me just. That UNICEF has published games. Please include them as an example. Here is the BGG website. More info. Yeah, this is actually perfect. UNICEF. You would think. I mean, if it's this kids focused organization. Anyway, I'm gonna keep working. I have about 40 minutes left, but that'll be it for me for today. Thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you soon.